Introducing Smart Data Services Vision. Hi, my name is Michael Hom. I lead the Financial Solutions team here at InterSystems. We are also joined by Amir Samary, our Director of Solution Architecture. Today, Amir and I would like to introduce to you our Smart Data Services Vision. I will begin with some context and background. Then Amir will provide an architectural overview and demo. We will highlight the benefits that Smart Data Services will provide, from being able to run on-premises or in the cloud, to building solutions faster and easier, to quickly bring together partners and customers. Why Smart Data Services? InterSystems has been utilized across many industries to solve a wide array of problems for many years. We are grateful to our customers and partners that have been using our technology to build their solutions, but we want to help you even more. The demands on a modern data fabric are more extensive than ever before. There are more use cases appearing every day. The volume and velocity of information we need to store and process is increasing exponentially. Lastly, the ability to work on-premises and in the cloud, along with being agile, is paramount to a business's success. Here's a typical deployment in financial services. On the left, you have various data sources that you want to access, each in different systems. To fulfill the multitude of internal and external use cases, you also need different products to handle and process that data, all potentially running on different platforms and in different locations. To address this, we built Smart Data Services on top of Kubernetes. That makes it possible to deploy anywhere, on-premises, in your cloud of choice, or used directly from InterSystems as a managed service. It also makes it real easy to find products from InterSystems, but more importantly, it makes it easy to find products from our partners. We will share with our partners the recipe to package their product as a Smart Data Service, making it visible and available to all of our customers. It's the App Store experience that you have on your phone today, but brought to your data fabric. Customers, partners, architects, they will all be able to browse a catalog and quickly find solutions that will fit to their needs. Furthermore, many use cases can be complex, and as you can see in the diagram, it may require a combination of several products. A product published as a Smart Data Service would be easy to combine with other products in the catalog. They are just better together. Once deployed, products will be able to quickly scale horizontally or vertically based on changing needs. Collectively, Smart Data Services can help meet your needs of today, along with adapting and growing with you into the future. Thank you for your time. Now I will hand it over to Amir to provide an overview of the architecture, along with a quick demo.
Thanks for that great introduction, Michael. So now let's take a look at the architecture. Let's start with Kubernetes. Well, Kubernetes is a big topic, but I like to think about Kubernetes as a data center operating system. You can deploy it anywhere. You have a cluster of machines on your data center on-prem. You can install Kubernetes on all those machines and use Kubernetes to distribute your workload. You can also deploy Kubernetes as a managed service practically on any cloud, like in AWS, you have EKS, in GCP, Azure, they all offer Kubernetes. And you can also, in the future, use uh, our product, Smart Data Services, as a managed service. You will be indirectly using Kubernetes, but we'll try to make that as transparent as possible for you. Another thing that I think I should say about on-prem is that you don't typically go about installing Kubernetes manually on every machine yourself. You can do it, it's very doable, but you will probably rely on some vendor like VMware, Red Hat, um, Mirantis. There are like a lot of Kubernetes distributions out there. So that reinforces this way of looking at Kubernetes as a data center operating system. In a sense, Linux is an operating system for one machine. Kubernetes is an operating system for many machines, and Linux has distributions. Kubernetes also has distributions. So think about Kubernetes this way. It's a data center operating system that can run anywhere. And let's take the example of the cloud. Let's say you're deploying Kubernetes on AWS. You're using EKS, right? Elastic Kubernetes Service. And what happens is that AWS will use their infrastructure, their EC2 infrastructure, right, to provide machines for your cluster. So M5X large, M5 2X large, those are uh, instance types in AWS. For instance, if I'm not mistaken, an M5 2X large has 8 cores and 16 gigs of RAM. I may be wrong, okay, but basically these weird names here, they just label a combination of compute and memory, and also some specifics about the hardware that goes underneath. But the cloud will be providing all these machines, and that's all transparent for you. And Kubernetes will be already installed on all those machines for you, so you don't have to think about it. You just start a cluster and you start using it. And as we're talking about smart data services, we want to have our control plane there. I'm not going into the details on how we get this there because that's not the point of this presentation, but that is what you need to know. And what the control plane, our smart data services control plane, is doing there right now. Well, one thing it does periodically is that it tries to scan all the repositories that it has um, configured on it. So let's say the control plane scans this repository and it will find things like Iris Adaptive Analytics, our Spark cluster that works out of the box with Iris, and some connectors, our Fire repository, and things like that. All InterSystems products, right, would be on that repository. And now, if you go to the catalog here, you're going to see this listing. Just like when you go to your app store on your phone, you see everything you could install on your phone. It's exactly the same. But we don't stop there. Let's say you are a partner and you have a couple of applications that you would like all InterSystems customers to see. You could have your own repository and put your application there, and tell a customer, a potential customer, or we could even make that repository pre-configured in the control plane, and the control plane would scan that repository and find all your applications and list there on the catalog. Okay, so and the same goes for maybe you have a huge organization, you have internal applications that you don't want anyone to see, but you want all your users in your company to see. You could have your own internal private repository and tell the control plane to scan that too. So the aggregation of all the applications, all the products and solutions from all these catalogs, they are now listed in the control plane's catalog. Then what happens? Well, we go to the catalog, pick something and deploy it, right? We are trying to build a solution. So let's say we are trying to deploy Iris with mirroring. If you take a look at the cluster, we have 2 empty nodes here, 2 empty servers. So we have space. We could add Iris. But let's say I want Iris with 8 cores and 16 gigs of RAM, and that, if I'm not mistaken, it's an M5 2X large, right? Well, I just have one here. So what's going to happen? Well, I'll tell you. When we choose to deploy this, and it's being deployed with mirroring, we need 2 nodes. So Kubernetes can help us, and it can dynamically add the missing node we need, and we install the Kubernetes, we install Iris on the cluster for you. That is amazing. So we are relying on all this technology, right, that makes dealing with large numbers of machines to deploy not only Iris, but anything that is better together, right? A Spark cluster, Iris Adaptive Analytics, a Fire server, partner applications, your own solutions and applications that you're building, anything. Let's take a look. So this is the control plane. And we're looking at our canvas and it's empty. So we want to go here on the catalog and find something to deploy. And as you can see, I have several services here. What I really want to deploy right now is this InterSystems Iris Persistence Service. This is just Iris as a database. And as you can see, as a creator, InterSystems, it comes from a repository. InterSystems Core Services is stable, has a version, has a description. And if I click on it, I can see a lot. I can, for instance, give it a name. Let's say this is my data, and I will call it Iris. And I can pick compute. So because I'm deploying this Kubernetes cluster where the control plane is run is deployed on AWS. So here I see AWS concepts such as compute optimized, and I can pick, for instance, a C5. And then I can pick, for instance, a C5 2x large, which has 8 cores and 16 gigs of RAM. So I was not mistaken, right? And this is for just a database node, right? If I was deploying another version of Iris that is to be deployed with ECP, for instance, I have the database node, I have the compute node, so I have to pick two types of compute here. And then we go to storage. This is a database, we need storage. And the storage, I can pick, I can enter with values here for size and speed in terms of IOs per second. For database, write image journal, and those are volumes that this service requires, and you know this very well because this is Iris. But let's say I am deploying an FTP server and I need a volume to store my files. So I would have just one option here, for instance, which would be, files, right? The size of your files. So, and you can also pick a t-shirt size, small, medium, large, for instance. So I'll take this one, which is easier. And then external services. This section here is all about what do you want to expose outside your cluster, So do you want to connect to the super server, maybe to use JDBC or DBC? You can enable it here. Or do you want to access the management portal? You can enable it here. I do want to access it because I want to show it to you. You have the option to provide a fully qualified domain name here. Let's say you bought a domain and this is not your management portal, but an application that you are deploying for everybody to use and access. You could type the name that you bought here. I don't want localhost. I want to use a name provided by AWS. And ingresses here, it's let's say you have on your Iris instance a CSP application, and that you want to expose outside the cluster for your users. The way to do that is through an ingress. So I will not get into the details of the difference between load balancer and ingress, but in summary, you have to enable the things you want exposed outside the cluster. And here is a demonstration of workflow roles. Let's say you have an application that sometimes needs to bring people into the process, right? As you know, if you are building an Iris application, we could have a workflow going on in there, and we need to ask permission to the administrator of this cluster to send tasks to the data steward and the business analyst. So this is how you do it. You just agree that you're okay with this service you're deploying, which is just an Iris as a database, to send tasks to these users. And here you can choose mirroring or not. I will not choose mirroring right now. I don't want high availability right now. I will accept the terms and conditions and I will start deploying. So now Iris is being deployed. As you can see, my canvas now has something on it, and I can also look at the list view, the grid view, which gives me a little bit more information. And we need to wait for Iris to deploy. Now Iris is deployed. So we can click on it now and see some general information about our deployment. We can see some links here. This is just a demo, right? It's the product, it's working, but the links you're seeing here, they are not all the links we would be showing, or we would not even be showing some links because, as I said, this was IDIS as a database, so it makes no sense to show here the BPL editor, the DTL editor, but we have some random links that we have here to test, and I can click on the production and just be taken there and enter with my username and password, and there you go. I am in the production, and this is the Iris data 0. So I gave the name Iris to this installation. So now maybe I should have chosen a different name, but it's deployed and it's running. I can go to the management portal and do everything you would do with Iris. It's really there. It's deployed, and but this Iris is very alone here. Let's add another service, right? Let's go to the catalog, and we created this Java Data Busy Box, which is a sample application. As you can see, the category here is sample for Java developers that wants to build an application using Spring Boot, which is a famous Java framework that talks to Iris. So it's a very nice way to get started, and I'll just call this my application, and BB for Busy Box. And as you can see, this name is available, and here is the BusyBox table name to be used. Well, let me explain what this is going to do. This service that is written in Java will connect to a IDIS box and create a table called Java BusyBox, or whatever name you put here, and every 30 seconds insert a record on that table. That's all it does. It's a sample application for the developer to get started, and you can change some of these parameters here, and these are all part of the sample because we want to give developers several samples for the language of their choices, right? And endpoint dependencies. Well, this here shows a very powerful concept. As I said, this application is built to talk to IDIS, so it has a dependency. It's saying here, I need a service that offers an InterSystems IDIS JDBC endpoint. So, and you can tell why, you can explain why it is required, and what are the services available. Well, you just deployed one. It's called my data, so I'll take that, right? And I'll accept, and I'll start deploying this. And so as you can see, we have our application, it's being deployed, and you can see a line that is now connecting that Java application to our IDIS box. You can move things around, and the idea here is that this application has a dependency to a service that offers a JDBC endpoint. Another example would be, for instance, let's say you're trying to deploy our patient portal, and the patient portal can only work if you have HealthShare UCR, Unified Care Record. It's another part of the suite, and so that is a dependency, and you can declare this. Let's say your application, you are a partner and you are developing an application that requires a master patient index or a PIX v3 or a PDQ v3 endpoint. You can declare this dependency so that someone will only be able to deploy your service if you have that other service deployed, or a service that offers that endpoint to you. Okay, enough talking. Let's go back there into IDIS. I think I have it open here. So we must look for that table, right? So the table, as you could see there, it didn't have a schema name, so it went to the default schema, which is SQL user. And here is our table. It got created, and as you can see, we have 4 records inserted by now. What are the key takeaways? First of all, anywhere. Because we have built Smart Data Services on top of Kubernetes, you can deploy it on-prem, inside your own data center. You can deploy it on your cloud of choice, and you will be able also to deploy it as an InterSystems managed service, and we will hide all about Kubernetes from you. All you're going to see is that nice canvas that you saw during the demo. You wouldn't have to worry about anything related to Kubernetes. So anywhere. Second, better together. The catalog contains products and solutions that are about meaningful use cases. So instead of having a product that can do many things, we are moving towards service composability. So you need a database, here is a database. You need interoperability, a connector for Salesforce, here is your connector for Salesforce. And they are built to be better together. So we'll make composability really easy with concepts such as endpoint dependency injection that, like you saw in the demo, that Java application that needs an IDIS database, and you see that as you build your solution, how the services are combined with each other, and they are very easy to deploy. Third, content visibility. You can have public service repositories like the ones provided by InterSystems, and maybe if you're a partner, you have your own repositories out there. And if you want to have a private repository, that is also possible. But this product is not available now. So, but we did want to show you and share our vision with you, but please, this product is not available right now. So those are the key takeaways. If you want to contact us, here's our information. Thank you very much.